This is a video talking about the new template to use for myMO while you're building clubs and various worlds for the game. The template's kept out in our Google Drive underneath the templates folder, and you'll see it's called moose template _v1.zip. So the first thing you'll do is just download it. So I mean, you can download it here right here from the site, or I can give you a link that'll show you where that is as well in the comments in the video here. So if you download it and download it anyway, and it says it's a minute, I'll go ahead and pause for a second, even though there's 50 seconds left. So that took about a minute to download. And so if I go look in the download folder, there it is. And what I normally do is I unzip it. And so I use 7-zip, whatever you use to unzip it. And I will extract it to the folder. And again, this will take about a minute, so I'll pause. It actually took about 30 seconds, but I have a folder now with a zip file. And the first thing I do is I usually rename the folder. And, whatever your club is going to be called, or whatever your world is. Let's use the English language. My club. And then I usually go in here and change it. We'll just leave that as my club. And that's what I do. And I say, so then I want to copy that. And then I want to copy that. This is, as you notice here, I'll open it up again. It's what you'd expect. It's a project for an Unreal project. So I copy it, and then I stick this into my folder where I've got my Unreal projects in, which is called Unreal Projects in my drive, and paste it. And this will take about a minute again, so I'll pause. That took about a minute, and so I just now looked at inside of it. And clicked on the project, and I'm launching Unreal Engine here for the project in my club. This should take about a minute. I won't pause. It goes pretty quick to load. It's loading the editor, so that's what's taking all this time. And then it's loading the project. And there it goes. A little bit slower because I'm running OBS to record this, but it'll open up. All right. There it is. And if we look at it here, if we go in content, what you're going to be working in is underneath maps. Here's a folder structure. It's it's a skinny down version of the actual game itself, with a lot of the assets gone, so you don't have to wait for it to load. And if you go in there, look under the maps, and then underneath that there's a maps file. There's a template map, and that's basically all there are for maps in here. Now, I normally go ahead and rename this to what I'm going to call it. So this is my club. Just again, if you don't rename it, I'll rename it when I put it in the game to keep things separate. Because in the game itself, what you'll see underneath this maps folder, you'll see every one of the maps. So you'll see like a dozen different folders, one for each world or club. But when you're working on the template, you're only working on one club at a time. So that's another thing I want to make a point. If you go ahead and make a club, and then you want to make a second club, re-download the template, and so you have a whole folder for each template on your hard drive. So, you would have a My Club, My Club 2, My Club 3, and so forth in terms of folders underneath Unreal Project. All right, so there's My Club. If I open it up, underneath Maps is a map, and I rename this too, just again, because I don't want them all called My Template inside of the game. And if I launch it, it will go ahead and it's going to bring that into the pie, or into the editor here. One of the things probably to talk about here is underneath My Club. These are the folders: GGM SFX, that's my Granddad Got Mojo Special Effects. So that's all the lights and stuff. So every template will have as a starting point all the lights that could be in a club. So it allows you to go play with the lights and put the lights where you think they should be, rather than me placing them in. And also you can see what it looks like with the lights running. So basically there's the GGM SFX folder, which is, don't mess with it, obviously, because it's all the lights. There's a Maps folder that's got the club in it, My Club, the one that you're working on. A Materials folder, a Meshes folder, a Textures folder, a Media folder if you're going to have some media, and then it's also, every one of these is loaded with dynamic sky. So what's going to happen is every club will have a sky in it and weather that people can control. In some cases it doesn't make much sense if it's just a completely enclosed indoor scene, and they only want and they're not able to walk outside. But anyway, that's what it'll have as a baseline. If you go look in the World Outliner, you'll see there's a small stage folder, and that's where all the lights that you see in there and special effects are. So all these lights are underneath this folder, and you just grab those and put them wherever you want. You can swap out stages, you can do whatever you want with those. You can duplicate the lights, you can delete some of the lights if you don't want that many lights in your club. There's also the fog, and the fog is just, basically it's for the whole scene. And then I have I only have one point light in here, and that point light is a blueprint. And what it is that's what I'm considering my house lights. So basically, these are the lights that you can be able to control from the DJ's perspective. So if you want static lights that you don't want to go on or off, you can stick those in as just regular lights in your scene. But if you want the lights to be controlled, copy this, duplicate this point light blueprint. And those lights are controlled inside of the scene, and I'll show you by the DJ, and I'll show you how that looks. And of course, ultra dynamic sky. And an ultra dynamic sky, I don't have the control panel in here for you to play with, but what I've got here is, you can set it to whatever you want. I've got it set to about 6 o'clock in the morning, but you can whatever you want to set it to for while you're editing and playing and testing. Again, this in the game itself will be replaced by ultra dynamic sky that the DJ actually can control to change those parameters. So if we go I can play it in the editor. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show is under System folder. That's all the player starts. And so there's 15, and that's what these little things here, player starts or spawn points, and you can place those wherever you want in your folder. So generally what you would do is you would, obviously you'd bring in other assets, and those other assets would get loaded usually in folders, if you're bringing stuff in. But always copy those over. If you're going to use a mesh, for example, if there's a chair you're bringing into it or whatever, copy that mesh chair into the mesh folder underneath the map itself to keep things clean. And also the materials and textures associated with that chair in this map. Make sure that they're within this My Club. You want to have everything associated with a club underneath the My Club folder. Because if it's not, it doesn't break it, but what I'll have to do is I'll move it over there just to keep things clean, because like I say, in the real game, you're not the only map. There'd be, 30, whatever it turns out to be for maps underneath here. So there'd be 30 of these folders, let's say. And if everybody just used and kept their assets inside of their own folders, inside of their template, I would have, tons of tons of folders that we'd have to manage. So I want to keep them all, with inside of the club. So all the meshes you can have in the club, move them over or copy them into the folders underneath your club you're building. So what can we do here? Let's play it and show you what it is, what's different here. So once you've built your club and you've looked at what you want it to do, you can go ahead and play it. And if I go ahead and play it, I'll play it in the editor, or you can play it outside of the editor. And I've got it like 5:50 in the morning, so the moon's still up, and it's outside, so this is an outdoor stage. The only thing, it brings up this menu, which you can always hide, if you're testing it. And of course, it's got the third-person guide you can run to make sure that you've got everything spacing-wise looking good and proportional to the player that's going to be playing it. I do have this menu. The only one that you're going to work with is the manual light controls, and I just didn't want to skinny it down any more than that. So this is what's really in the game itself. And there's a wiki out there that'll show, tells you how to use all these, but it's always Universe 1, and then whatever patch you want to go use. So for example, all the various lights you can control as well. So I can say, a good example is, remember the house light I talked about? So there's that 1-point light that's illuminated here. It's pretty powerful. You can go into house lights, and it brings up this, the house light thing. And example, it's a white light now, and you could change the house light colors, for example, if you're just playing with this. Now this isn't something that's out there. This is just to give you an example, so you'll know that, once I put my house lights in there inside of the club and stuff, how will it look like if the DJ is changing that, and the DJ can make it brighter, dimmer, the house lights. The other things, of course, are all the regular, the laser. So it'll bring up the laser, and I could control the laser with, let's say beam width. It's kind of a wide laser beam. How many beams, spread them apart, rotate them, whatever you do, so you can just see how it will look inside of the club you build. And you can place them where you want to put them in the club, so you can put the lasers where you want them. Before, I'd always do that after the fact, and I want to let you guys do that instead. It's got fog too, so here we go with, we'll go ahead and throw. Well, I thought it had fog. Yeah, there it goes. Takes a second for it to start spawning. So, and you can change the colors to the fog, so you can just see where it is. So you can control what it's going to look like in your club. So that's a template that's got all the light controls in it as well. And when you're finished with doing all your modifications of the club, and so say this is a full built club, you'll just go ahead and take that template and that's out here, the my club template, and zip it up. Now, here's a quick tip about zipping up a file. Just to skinny it down, what you can do is you can go into the saved, and you got to always save the config file, but you can delete these other files. And because a lot of those are just logs, and every time you run the thing, it creates a save log. I usually delete those before I zip it up, but it's not. It just makes it smaller, the file. It's not. You don't have to do that. So I would go ahead and I would go ahead and zip it. I'd add it to a my club zip, and then I'd let it go ahead and zip it up, and then I would go take that and put it into the shared drive, and you'd let me know that it's out there for me to go ahead and incorporate it into the game. So that's a new template. I just thought I'd share it with everybody. And got any questions, don't hesitate to drop me a message.